Hey traders, Mike Katz here today with 7 Points Capital coming to you with a midday takeaway. So market is up today, and let's go over the spider chart a little bit because that's been the driver for the last week, and it seems like for at least for today the market as a whole has definitely been what's driving most names that we've been looking at. So let's analyze the spies real quick. So we've been in this really big uptrend for the longest time, right? Really big strong push up, and things started to turn down at 285. And when it turned down, we had a couple of really sharp days, and I think a lot of people were caught by a little bit surprised by that move, because most pullbacks, you had a couple dollar pullbacks in the spies, and over and over the spies would pull back $2, $3, $4 in the past, and then it would rally. So here we had this, $3, $4 pullback. And if you're saying that, oh, I picked the top, I knew that this was going to be the top, then most likely you were wrong all those other times that the market was looking like it was going to curl down, and it didn't. It only gave you a $3, $4 pullback, and then it would rip up again. So this was the time where it actually did curl down. Personally, I love to trade on the short side, but for some reason, it looks like I was not able to capitalize to the degree that I wanted to with this market drop. I was green for the last couple of weeks for sure, and last week was less green than the previous week, but I was not really able to sink my teeth in to this market sell-off. And I think part of it was because it just happened so fast, right? So you staircase up, and then boom, just really quick elevated right down. And now the question really becomes, all right, what's next? Well, we pulled back into this consolidation. And as far as the technical aspect, we kind of held this area of support. Bigger support was down here. That's where we consolidated and broke out of. And that's at 247, 248. So for now, what's on my radar, for those of you who've read Anna Cooling's book, right, volume price analysis, if we look at all the effort that went into, let's zoom in a little bit more, all the effort that went into this bar, right, massive red bar and pretty big volume bar, almost 300 million shares. Then we had a massive green bar the other way after gapping down, and that's kind of in line, no anomaly there, right? Big green bar, big volume bar. We had a topping tail the next day, and about half the volume of the previous days. That's kind of in line, right? Topping tail means toppy action, and it had less volume than the previous days, so that was kind of a toss-up. You didn't really know which way that was going to go. And then you had another massive red day, and the volume was pretty big. But there was one clue here, noticing the 268 to 258 range, that's $10. And this one was 274 to 264, also $10. But on this day we had a little bit less volume, 250 million shares versus 300. So that's a type of anomaly where there wasn't enough volume to match the previous day's volume on this big red bar. Fine, so that's like a little bit of an alert. Hey, watch out. Still closing week. Don't try to pick a bottom, right? But it looks like there wasn't as much volume. It's some sort of a divergence of an anomaly here as on this day. And then next day we come in, we gap up. And when we gap up, we go a little bit higher, and boom, another whoosh down. This day on Friday was wild, right? Like it just started out like a green day, and then before you know it, everything accelerated to the downside, got parabolic to the downside on the shorter term charts, and we rallied off the lows on a pretty decent volume day, almost 300 million shares, and we closed with a big hammer with long tail on the bottom. And that, for now, most likely has shaken out a lot of the people who were going to be shaken out. If you didn't sell on this bar, chances are you're not selling at these levels, right? The people who sold here are the ones that are going to be shaken out with this move. If you didn't sell on this bar as an investor, you're probably going to be shaken out in a bigger move at lower prices. So, but you could see that a lot of people did get shaken out, panicked out. And today, last night I was looking at the futures and they were up. And this morning they were up, and then we got a little bit of a whoosh down with the market, and then the market just got absorbed and caught a bid, and now we're lifting off again, right? So for now the market seems like we have a hammer and we have put in some sort of a bottoming tail. Now, how do these bottoming tails work? They don't mean that it must be a reversal. I don't think that anybody in the tech analysis world will tell you that just because you have a hammer on volume, it's a reversal pattern. What most people will tell you is that it's either a reversal pattern or a pausing pattern. So you can either go sideways or reverse to the upside. What I look for in these is how quickly we start bouncing off of this range. And as of today's action, it seems like it was pretty quick. So that's what I look for. And then, do we negate this hammer? If we do, if this hammer gets taken out, then we'll probably have quite a bit more downside. But if this hammer holds and we hold, let's say, at the top third of this range above 260, then this should confirm that most people were shaken out, and potentially we get some sort of a relief rally. And we look at the action, and you could see that on Friday we had acceleration to the downside, and then we just reversed hard, short squeeze on the close, and we closed really strong near the high of the day. And that's what you saw. You saw a lot of capitulation, a lot of panic selling. So having said that, it's tough, right? If you're adjusting, all of a sudden you're saying that the market's selling and I got to be short biased. Well, if you're a little bit too late, then you're probably not having a great time right now. So that's what you get with this volatility, with this huge range days, where you will, you have these big moves and they can move in both directions. So the key is size down, do less. And those of you who have seen some of my recent posts, you'll know that I try to do less last couple of days, and that includes today also. And today what I did trade was a little bit of Mankind. This thing got a pop. Look at the daily. We can see that there was a nice move up. Last week we nailed, was it last week or last month, we nailed this one pretty well as it got rejected by that $4 level, and then the next couple of days it was just drifting lower. So knowing that this is, you're going to have some bag holders and some people who are stuck long from that recent pop, figured that today they'll probably provide for some supply and for some resistance. So when I saw this thing taking off here, I thought I don't want to chase it on the long side, and I'll probably try to short it going into the $3 figure. And I saw it on the scanner right around here to high 280s, and I did not do anything here. I didn't want to buy it. It was a little bit too early for me to short it, so I just waited, and it started drifting higher, and on this push here, 296 I shorted versus 311, thinking that even if it does get through 3, I'll give it some space, and then potentially it'll curl down, or I'll get stopped down and take a 15-cent, 20-cent loss. No big deal. So I put on half a position here at 296, and then it chopped around a little bit, but it felt like it had no power. It did try to shake people out, making it high by 1 cent, right? And if you're one of those traders that puts your stop 1 cent above the high, well, this probably was not a good time for you right here, because that's what they did. It just triggered the stops on high volume, and it just got rejected by there. Couldn't break $3, and couldn't really catch a bid here. So when I saw that right here at 295, after it did put in this lower high at 295, I doubled up my size and I covered into the first wash and thereafter. So that was pretty much my whole day today. And see with regards to the setups that I want to see. And I was very selective. I traded this name today, and I had a couple more, but I really was very selective. CHK ended up doing nothing. I thought this could curl back down and come back and retest this 270 area. It might still do that, I don't know, but I'm not in this anymore. It just looked like it was a grind chop, sideways chop, so I left it alone. And let me think what else was in play. A couple of other, lower price names that were SSR from Friday I had on my radar, but nothing really came of them. But the main one was this Mankind trade. This one made my day, and I'm done for today. I'm going to call it a day. Therefore, we have this midday recap, and I'll do some stuff around the office and get out of here early. So keep an eye on the spies, guys. It'll be interesting to see which way we go from here. Make sure that you're looking at this stuff in terms of if-then statements, no absolutes. You just want to see what's going to happen. You have some sort of a thesis, and then you say, okay, if this happens, then I'll react like that. So like I said, if the hammer holds and we don't get back below this 260 and start getting into the range of the hammer again, then potentially we could have some sort of a lift, which we've had a nice $5 push in the spies. And that's how you like to think about trades, where it's not, I think this is going to happen or I think that's going to happen. What you want to say to yourself is, if I see X, then I'll do Y and Z. All right, so hopefully that helps. Thank you guys for watching. Mike Katz with today's Trader Takeaways.